I am using Tubolito on my cyclocross bicycle for about now 2 years, and after the time this happened to them, and in this video will explain to you that you can't do anything about it and that you have to live with it. Well, maybe you have an idea. Since I built up my new bicycle in early 2023, this is now filmed in September 2025, so about 2.5 years ago, I also used for the first time these Tubolito inner tubes. I was very happy with them for the first 2 years. I had my first flat after about, I think, 6 or 7 months. Paired it, no problems. I drove it for another 1.5 years, no problems. I mean, beside having the occasional flat, but nothing out of the ordinary. No higher amount of flats than with normal tubes. Yeah, but then in the mid of this year, about, I don't know, maybe June, July this year, 2025, so after 2.5 years, I noticed that I had another flat. I think I had even 2 flats, and both times the tubes, after I repaired them, were losing air still, but not at the place where I fixed them or where the original hole was, but on several other places. There were coming air out of multiple places, and the weird thing was that the air came out all in the inner part of the closer part to the center of the wheel, right? Not the outer part where you would expect it. The outer part is where the tube is below the surface of the wheel, and there could be something that maybe punches it, etc. So this was weird. And yeah, after the second time this happened, I figured out what probably the reason was, and it's just simply aging. These Tubolitos are thinner than the normal tube. They are about 36 grams, I think, for my version, which I need for a cyclocross bike. And I think the normal tubes are about 150 grams, right? So way more material that is there so that you don't notice if it's aging, right? Yeah, what I figured was that the aging process is simply that after some time they get probably micro breaches, micro tears that are so small that the air, you say that the air has a thin head, right? That it can go outside, and then you see all these small little air bubbles when you hold a tube underwater. And the reason why it's probably on the inner side of the wheel and not the outer part is that there's the most tension, because the outer part has a round shape, so there's an equal amount of force on the tube, but in the inner part there are some areas where the tube is under higher stress because there is some curvature. So this is the profile of my wheel, of my carbon wheel for my bicycle, and as you can see, there is this edge here on both sides, and I think this is the place where the most stress for the tube happens, and this is also the place, I think, where the Tubolito is failing, because there's the most stress for the Tubolito material, and it's ripping a little bit, or has little tiny cracks in tube's wall because of these stress factors here. Because everything else, especially here the wheel, right, this inner part here, this is round, right? While on this here is a relative distinct edge there, which stresses the tube. And this were usually also the places where I think I saw the air bubbles coming out. I think the tube just simply ages, then gets some micro fractures, air comes out, and then you basically the tube is useless because you cannot repair that. Would I still purchase them? Yes, I think they are great. They are a little bit more expensive, so I mean, it's up to you. But what I think they are really great for is as a replacement, as a backup tube in your backpack or wherever you store it on your bike, right, or in your pockets, because these tubes are so thin that they're also so light and that you can pack them small. I will use them in the future. The only thing I did now was to experiment with other producers of these tubes. I mean, there are now copycats, of course. They are a little bit, and I did choose one brand that is a little bit heavier, and I'm experimenting basically with that. Let's see where it goes. Maybe it holds up a little bit longer, but it's also a little bit cheaper, and I don't care so much about the small weight difference. I think this one is 36 grams, while the new one is 40 or maybe 45 grams, right? But still, it's still 1/3 of maybe a normal tube that you had until a few years ago. So that's all. Hope you took something from this video, and have fun cycling.